angelic, ingenious supplies.
What's up, Spikes? Welcome to our 50K subscriber celebration Q&A. That's right, you wanted to ask us questions, and now we're here to give you some answers. And today I've got with me myself, Jim,
That's me.
Maddie, and Jen.
I don't know what that was, but
I look like a thumbs up, but like, okay, yeah, sure.
Sure.
50K.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're so excited
Going
that
crazy.
50,000 plus of you at this point like our content enough to have notifications about it. So we're going to get right into it with our first question. I started to play Magic when I was in 7th grade in, I think, 2003 or 2004. Onslaught had just come out and Legions was about to drop, and was I excited for Akroma Angel of Wrath. So that was a good time.
I started playing in, like, say it was somewhere revised 4th edition, somewhere between revised and 4th edition, maybe. I don't exactly know when. I was a kid, we played on the playground. My first product was a 4th edition starter deck, so I guess it would have been after 4th edition, now that I think about it. That would make sense.
Think about it.
It would have been, let's say 4th edition.
That's a long time ago. I started in New Phyrexia. I don't know what year that was, but I used to go to Walmart and buy like starter decks.
It was like 2010, 2009.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Alex said 7th grade, I was like, well, I started in 5th grade. And then he said, what was this that you said?
Onslaught
Legion, yeah. And then I was like, 5th edition. Now I feel real old.
I mean, you are.
I am. Yeah, 5th edition. When I was in like grade 4 or 5, we used to, again, just play. I remember those 2/2 4-mana haste raptors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lavax. Yeah, I can name cards. Lavax is good. You guys wouldn't know Lavax.
Yeah.
It's past your time.
Jan and I.
Catch.
I started right around the time of Theros, shortly after my good friend Elliot had moved into my apartment, and he taught me the ropes.
Poorly, probably.
Well, that's why now you can know who to blame for my skill.
Yeah. Like he said, I started around Theros, probably. 2014, I want to say.
Mine, I can't really place it down because we kind of, like me and my friends in high school sort of like eased into Magic from Yu-Gi-Oh! So like it was around like Mirrodin Besieged, New Phyrexia is when we like first started. But when I really like remember, buying cards and whatever, I think it was Innistrad. Innistrad was my first like real set.
You guys are all babies.
Yeah.
I started in late 99, early 2000. I think some of you maybe not born yet.
I was 5.
Mercadian Masks was the newest set, which I did not purchase because Squee looked lame and Beast of Burden looked cool.
That's such a heater answer.
Beast of Burden is a Jim LePage special, to be fair.
It's kind of complicated. We could probably all boil it down to the style of Magic that we were playing at the time wasn't really represented by anything in online media. There were not a lot of Commander channels around. It was like the Lab Maniacs, like Team Term 3 was out there, Command Zone obviously, Commander Versus had been going for quite a while, but wasn't always Commander. If you go like way back, it wasn't always Group Commander. Sometimes it was 1v1. But when we played Commander, we played like pretty spiky Commander. We were playing proto CEDH kind of thing. But when we went online and we saw people talking about what CEDH was, that didn't really match what our experience was. So like, I'm not going to take credit for starting the channel because obviously it was a group effort. But at least for me, my motivation was I wanted to show people. I was sick of telling people what we were doing, and I wanted to show people what we were doing. And it was like a competitive Commander, but with like a heavy social element where people were laughing and enjoying themselves and just like having fun rather than like the, rigid, sunglasses on, earbuds in, World Series of Poker style, playing Magic, like tournament grinders, right? Mm-hmm. There really wasn't that social competitive anything, anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think another part, because I just realized now that Alex and Madison weren't there when we started.
Yeah, it's true.
They're add-ons.
Newbies.
We talked, newbies, young bloods to the channel. Welcome to 50K. We saw a lot of the content, and again, as Jim was saying, is like, we looked at it and we're like, we could do this.
We were like, how hard
could this be? How much work would we have to put into a channel for YouTube?
Yeah, how'd that one go? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Oh, I knew it was going to be a lot of work when I sat in the basement and listened to for an hour. Cute cactuses. Madison, make us a cute cactus logo.
Just Google it.
And
Okay,
Google
Google
images
it.
for an hour.
So
like,
we,
oh my God.
like early on, we were like, Madison, you should join us and do this channel thing with us, right?
I
We were
said
like,
no.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely not.
No
You're gonna
way.
bring me
We were like, you should join our channel, and she's like, well, what would I do? And we're like, I don't know. What do any of
Okay,
us do?
well, then why would I do that?
make
No
graphics.
chance.
Yeah, and we were like, well, we need a logo, and Madison's like, well, I can design a logo for you. And we're like, fine, we'll have a meeting, and we sat and talked for 3 hours, and we were like, okay, we're spikes. We're like spitballing, right? We're like, okay, we're spikes. We're spiky. And then we're like, okay, well, what else is spiky? Well, we had a cactus logo.
Yeah,
at the
clip
time.
art cactus
Clip art,
that
yeah.
Elliot had grabbed.
It's clip art from Microsoft Word. That's a
Yeah.
little bit of deep Spike Feeders lore for you.
yeah.
Yeah, we were like, well, we want a cactus, but it's got to be cute because we're social. We don't want to give off that vibe of being aggressive, and it's got to be cute. It's got to be a cute cactus.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And so we
Right.
Googled up some kawaii cactuses,
Yeah.
of which there are many on the internet.
Yes.
There are a lot.
And we were like,
Including ours
Madison,
now.
can you make us one of these, please?
And they were like, how about this? Will you join our channel instead of us paying you for your service?
Instead of paying you could get it on the ground floor.
Yeah.
You could own 1/7.
Entry level. Yeah.
And so we paid for a logo.
Yeah, we
and
paid for a
Madison
logo,
was
yeah.
like, go away.
Yeah.
And then like,
I don't even think that's what happened because I feel like I said no.
Oh, you said no for
I said
sure.
no. And then after I was like, you know what? Maybe I should do this. Maybe this is a good idea. And I was like, I could do this. I've had my iPad for like a month. No problem. Yeah, I think I super bullshitted that I was good at it
Yeah.
and knew what I was doing. And then I made a logo.
yeah.
And then that was
And it
that.
worked out. Everybody loves
really
the
good,
logo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you have any
it's-
idea how many of those little spike cactuses exist in
It's
the world
sweet.
now?
A
Yeah.
lot of them.
It's thousands.
So many.
Thousands.
I've
upon
even
thousands.
forgotten that dice color is not an actual color that Chessex produced. And when I saw someone, I was playing a Fab event online and they had those color dice, I was like, oh, are you a fan of the channel? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, cool, I'm done the game now, bye.
I gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we approached Madison later and we were like, do you want to be part of the channel? And this is when we actually had like a good concept of what we wanted.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay.
And then it was like, yeah, yes.
Yeah, I think people in general will lean towards things that they're more familiar with, especially when you want to make content. I think that if someone plays something they're more familiar with, they're just going to get a better result, a better showcase of what that person / deck wants to do. Outside of recording and playing in general, I will play anything, really. I'll play anything as long as I think it's fun and fun to play against. Like there are certain things that I avoid in general, but I will always try to force myself to do something that I otherwise wouldn't, just to get a sense of something else. But yeah, I'm not against playing or not playing anything.
I only played Najila for like a year and a half. I prefer to play the decks that I like. And it's mostly, just from a comfort level. It's not that I felt like I could win more with Najila. It just happened that I did. But it was more that I just really enjoyed that deck. And I liked showcasing like the cards that I picked up for it. Like when I had a full set of unlimited duels and like original foil fetch lands and stuff, like I wanted to show that off, and playing a different deck meant that I couldn't do that. So that was just kind of where I was coming from.
It's funny. So I guess go a little deeper on it. I guess I actually enjoy the deck building side of anything else. Of Magic more than anything else. So as much as I like playing any particular deck or strategy, I will only do it so much until I think this is the best I can do it, and then I'll try something else. Because again, the deck building part of Magic is the thing I enjoy the most.
Aaron makes the heaterest decks you've ever seen in your life. They're crazy. Every time I see a new deck that he's played, I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and none of my decks have ever done this, and I don't know why. I don't know how.
I don't think that many people have heard of, let alone lost to Garzazal. So
That was almost my most favorite card. Like the card that means the most in my collection. My full Spanish cards.
Garzazal.
That's a close second.
That's a good one.
Also a banger, yeah.
I think the biggest lesson I've learned about content is that you can't take anything personally. People will try to tear you down for things as unusual as your canthal tilt, and I'm just not about that.
Oh,
happened to me
that's a
once.
good one, yeah.
So that was when I was on the
like
Playing with
twice,
Power
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
People were like, your eyelids are pointed the wrong way. And I'm like, I don't know why. This sounds pretty racist. It sounds pretty racist. I can't put my finger on it.
Well, yeah, somebody said if you
That's
put your
wild.
yeah, if you
yeah.
put your finger on it, I think it becomes more racist.
Oh,
Like-
it's so racist. Like, we're gonna get canceled.
Trying to fix it.
But anyway, I think that's a really good point. I think for me, the biggest thing is like, don't overthink it. Just start doing things. Like, so many people want their first thing that they create to be perfect, and it's never going to be perfect. Like, if you go way back in our channel, go digging through the Spike Feeders archives, our first episode sucked. And in fact, if you go to our homepage and you look at our channel trailer, that's a game that we filmed that we didn't even release. You can actually see it in the channel trailer. That's not even our overlay or anything like that. It sucked. Our audio was terrible.
Terrible.
We had glare. We actually had the camera wasn't secured to the ceiling. It was hanging from a hanging light fixture. There was a camcorder taped to a hanging light fixture. So every time the air conditioning came on, you could see it sway a little bit. And like this is, and obviously there's survivorship bias, right? Like not every channel that starts with crappy equipment or whatever is going to take off and end up at 50,000 subscribers. But you can improve on things until you start doing things. So do it, and then do a little bit of a debrief after each chunk of content. Be like, what could we have done better next time? Like, iterate on it.
I think the most important thing that I learned is that you just can't give up. It's okay to pivot if what you're doing is not working. But I think that we were able to get to where we were because as a group, we just decided to keep going, even when it was really hard. And sometimes I think we didn't want to do it. Sometimes we just kept going. Yeah.
I think for me, it's kind of hard to articulate, but it's even if you don't think what you're doing has value, other people might. And that's an important thing where you just have to be like, you know, because there's some stuff we put out and we're like, nobody's going to watch this. I mean, even at the beginning of the channel, we'd be like, it'd be great if 1,000 people watched our stuff. But like a lot of people, we do get heartfelt comments where it's like, this helped me get through my surgery. This helped me get through these tough times. So just because you don't feel like what you're doing has value doesn't necessarily mean it's not impactful for other people. So, you know, keep positive. Like again, like Matt said, don't give up. Like if you're passionate about it, if it's making you feel awful and terrible every time you do it, then maybe don't do it.
Yeah.
But like if you're passionate about it, just, you know,
Just keep going.
pushing.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know that I've learned too much. Mostly have Jim on your team. He's too smart and too good at what he does. So we can't not succeed.
I think I don't know if it's the most valuable thing that I've learned, but it's the thing that has stuck around the longest for me. It's no matter how good you are at the game or how good you think you are at the game, someone will find an issue with something that you did. Either the decision that you made or you went against the rules of the game as they were set out currently. Playing on camera is really hard. So that's the thing that just don't beat yourself up when you make mistakes. That's fine.
Yeah, mine's kind of the same points. Especially with Commander, because Commander, you can play and do things a variety of ways that aren't the best option, right? Like if you were to play Modern or regular constructed format. And yeah, being terrified of making mistakes was a big concern I had for a long time. But once you point a camera at any given Commander game, I would imagine there's tons of mistakes that people make frequently, but once you record it, you start noticing them. Yeah. People are quick to point them out.
Content creation is hard. I barely do anything for the channel, but from just the amount of time, and I think that's kind of like what people don't understand is just the sheer amount of man hours that go into content creation. And that was a learning curve. And like I said, I barely do any of it, but it's still like, it's wild.
Well, I guess because I said don't give up, sometimes the hardest part is to keep pushing yourself to do it when you don't want to do it anymore. Or like if you just want to take a break. I think being like super entrenched in Magic the Gathering all the time, like sometimes when I go home, I just don't want anything to do with Magic cards. So for me, that can be difficult. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think it's just like always having to, so being mindful of what you're saying, like more so than you should be as a normal person, just because your audience is much bigger. That's why I stay off Twitter and all that kind of stuff, because I say a lot of dumb things. Not as dumb as some people on Twitter. I'm not saying anyone here. Ouch, don't look at me. But yeah, I know you like realizing that like as a content creator, there's 50,000 people that watch our stuff, more than that on our things. So it's like stuff we say that might be innocuous, people call it on our videos where you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that, like legitimately. Like, sorry for saying that. And yeah, being a good human being is hard.
For me, the hardest part about content creation is the absolutely enormous mountain of work that people just don't think about. I'm sure this is probably also something Jim would say, but editing, social media, contracts, workflow, keeping up with tech, keeping up with what the next thing is, trying to figure out how you're going to title something. Every one of these things takes energy and time out of your day. And none of us are full-time. None of us do this as a job. This is just what we do with our spare time. And dedicating this much of your spare time to essentially what amounts to showing off wizard poker on the internet, it can be rough sometimes, especially when you go through a period where you're not seeing growth, or you're not seeing rewards, or you're not seeing that enthusiasm from your fans. So like a few times I've said, I really appreciate our Patreons. Really appreciate our fans. I really like it when we get comments or subscriptions or anything else. And that's because those are the tiny little tangible things that make doing this worth it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I know this is not an original answer, but it's got to be the demands on my time. Like I do this, and I've got my rules committee stuff, which there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes there that nobody sees and I can't really tell anybody about. But yeah, it's got to be demands on my time. Like at one point I was our only editor. That's one of the main reasons why we brought Alex on, was to get him up to speed on editing. At one point, Elliot was our only editor. And I mean, we're talking like probably 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
And that starts at hour 41 of working, right? We've got our day jobs. Hour 41, that's when you start working on your spike feature stuff. And then at hour 70, it's 10 o'clock p.m. the day before we're releasing an episode, or it's like 8 a.m. the morning of release day, and we're still working on stuff, trying to get stuff out. And that's the 70th hour of the week, and it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, up until extremely recently, we were making pennies off of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say like $150 split 8 ways. It's not exactly, if anybody's in it for the money, they're either making lots or they're lying.
I think the thing I think about most is trying to stay on top of everything, right? With Magic, there are so many different releases, so many things coming up. You want to kind of be on point and cover everything, but don't want to be too late. And then maybe is it worth doing anymore? All that kind of stuff. That's the thing that I think about I think about too much, for sure.
Finding time to get 4 people in a room to film Magic the Gathering.
Also.
4 adult people who all have exceedingly busy lives in their own regards.
I think the most memorable moment for me so far is when we went to MagicCon Chicago for our meet and greet, and we were signing consistently for like the entire 2 hours we were there. And like, this maybe sounds like a little bit conceited, but it was the first time that I realized like, oh, we actually have a lot of people that genuinely enjoy the content that we're making and want to come and see us. That was a really cool moment, right? Because like what we do behind the scenes and the filming and everything is just, it's just like me hanging out with my friends in the basement. But it just made it a little bit more real. It was very cool.
Yeah, it for sure has to be MagicCon Chicago that we went on not long ago. For a variety of reasons, but for sure for the meet and greet we were at on Sunday. I remember, the couple days leading up, you're like, it's 2 hours, it's on a Sunday. Are people going to show up? Do people actually like us? Like, what's all those things go through your mind. But once we sat down, it was crazy. It was like almost 2 hours nonstop, and it was awesome. And like, it's easy. It made it a lot easier because everyone that we interacted with was super cool, and they make it easy to do it. But yeah, that was for sure. Like, it was a pretty surreal experience.
Mine would be I can remember vividly, despite me being pretty drunk, was at my work Christmas party, not like the Spike Feeders Christmas party, but my actual job career Christmas party. We were at a local arcade place, and someone came up and had a half an hour conversation with me. And again, I was pretty drunk by this point, but I can remember vividly being like, that was cool. Like just a half hour conversation about Magic and talking about the channel and stuff. And I was like, that's neat.
I guess not to step on Aaron's toes, because obviously, yeah, same thing, kind of meet and greet and whatever. But I think my One would have been, I guess, further back, MagicCon Vegas 2019. Not even a moment at the con necessarily, but just kind of the whole thing. Like we went there, we were like, are people even going to know who we are at like 2019, right? Like we were so small comparatively. And yeah, everybody just being super awesome, like signing things left and right. Even at that point, it was like, whoa, like you kind of come back with a pretty big head from a thing like that, you know, like going back to your normal life. You're like, they don't even know. I signed so many things.
Yeah, it's got to be basically that for me as well. Like, I think my favorite thing has to be going to these conventions, like even in 2019, like when we went in Chicago and Minneapolis last year, being able to meet up with other content creators that like you look up to and idolize or whatever. And like, you know, you treat them like a regular human being and they're just super chill. Shout out Ben Wheeler. Actually the best like celebrity meet that I've ever had in my life. And I do think of him as a celebrity still. But yeah, it's so cool just being able to like to meet up with people that also like the game as much as you do and just be cool with them. It's nice.
Okay. I don't know how I attribute the dice to our success because I feel like we actually had to have some amount of success first in order to pursue that and have it, you know, be a successful venture. But it also somewhat goes hand in hand because the dice have their own independent branding that help bring people to our channel.
Yep.
So, yeah, they kind of go together. But we needed success first.
Yeah, honestly, I think the dice are one of the very few expenses that we have that you could come to me and say, Alex, we need to take out a 5-figure loan to make more dice. And I'd say, yep.
And we're like, yep, let's just do it.
We need to buy a dice factory.
Yeah, sure. And we just made the biggest dice order that we've ever had so far. And I already feel like from the number of people that have asked us for dice, I have to get more.
Yeah.
Right? It's a really good problem to have, though.
Yeah, like we were joking about this a little while ago, but I think we might actually be one of the, if not the biggest dice retailers in Canada.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure if we ever stop being a YouTube channel, we can have a successful dice business.
Like actually,
open a dice
I'm fairly
store?
certain.
Like, I'm not joking.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. That
Yeah.
Then we branch into the 7 D&D sets.
Well, I mean, Jim and I are related. So,
Really?
Yeah. So we, he played Magic back in the day. I remember seeing like Phyrexian Reaper and Carnivorous Wall and like a bunch of random stuff from like Mirage and all these sets. I didn't know anything about Magic at the time. Yeah, so Jim's my brother. I met Elliot at our local game store playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That was how I met Elliot, and then by extension, that's how I met Jerry. Then, like, I think the rest of the Spike Feeders just are people who frequented Fusion a bunch. Aaron works there, so
Yeah, I worked at and ran local game store.
Yeah.
That is how I'm involved in this.
So in 2000 and
you're not telling that story.
I'm not. I can tell a couple stories.
Not the story that I'm thinking about.
That's true. Yeah, Jerry and I went to middle school together.
Yeah.
So that's we met each other like grade 5.5, grade
Ish.
6, something like that, at computer club.
Computer class.
It's a real story.
Being able to, for the most part, set our deadlines and stick to them. And I know that is a lot of work thanks to Alex and Elliot and Jim and Madison. Just all the work we've done. I guess there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't really ask us about often that we got invited to MagicCon Chicago. And it's been a lot of hard work from a lot of people that I think doesn't get appreciated by most people as much. And we should talk about that more, that it was a lot of hard work and a lot of stress, but we got through it. We're getting there. And then we got Phil.
I think the thing I'm proudest of, having worked with the Spike Feeders, is actually just a little Better Know a Combo video I did with Rachel Weeks. It was one of the very first things I ever did completely independently on the channel. Like, I didn't ask Jim for advice. I didn't have Elliot check my work. I just did it all, had a test watch, and published it. And I did that from scripting to filming to revising and put it all out. And I just really like that video. I think I did a really good job on it, and I like it a lot.
It was really good,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
For me, it's our audio.
Hey, okay.
Audio is so hard. It's like, imagine if you're not an audio engineer at home, like imagine how hard you think audio is and how expensive it is to do it well. And then like multiply that by 10 for labor and multiply it by 10 for cost. And you're like maybe in the neighborhood if you spend a lot of time learning about it. There's like a bunch of things about audio where they're like unknown unknowns, where it's just like, there are things you don't know, but you also don't know that you don't know them. Like, I don't know that I don't understand like quantum mechanics or whatever, but at least I know that quantum mechanics is a thing. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff with audio where I just didn't even know it was a thing that you could know. And then once you learn that it's a thing you could or should know, then you actually have to learn it.
Yeah. Like, what's loudness?
Yeah, loudness is such a weird concept in audio. And it's like, there are so many different ways that you can measure things. And like, if you go back through our backlog of stuff, you can see all the different, like configurations of hardware that we've used, like our microphones. When we first started out, it was really echoey, and like a bunch of people in the comments were like, just put up some audio foam. And we're like, okay. So we went and spent like $300 on audio foam because it's expensive. Yep. And then we put it up on the walls and our audio still sounded like crap. So we were like, okay, well, it wasn't the audio foam. And then people were like, well, just get lapel mics. And so we got these cheap lapel mics from China. We plugged them into our phones.
We record on our phones and upload to the Google Drive.
Yeah, well, and then somebody's phone would go off in recording and you'd hear that or like the interference. And so we've gone through like so much money. I'm sure we spent $10,000 on audio equipment.
Yeah.
Well, I even like for the first 6 months, I was trying to audio engineer, having never done it. And from a like labor standpoint, there's only so many times I could hear Elliot say, "What's up, Spikes?" all echoey before I'm like, throw my headphones across the room. I have to step away from this. Yeah. And there's
just so many things.
Much to do,
There's so many things to do with audio where you just don't realize how big the world of audio engineering is. And like just getting it to the point where it's not distractingly bad will cost you like a couple $1,000s and maybe 20 or 30 hours of learning.
Yeah.
So
You're either spending a ton on equipment or a ton on man hours.
Yep. Or both.
Yeah.
Okay. My thing that I'm proud of accomplishing recently is after 5 years of being on the channel, I finally did a video intro.
Oh,
that was recent too.
Yeah,
That was 2 days ago.
Did it. So yeah, I don't know. For me, like public speaking is incredibly difficult, even though I'm just sitting in a room with you guys and this camera. It's like, I just don't want to do it. I want to trip over my words.
50,000 people.
Yeah, there's so much pressure. So yeah, I finally did it. The other thing I'm really proud of is how successful our dice are and our Kickstarters.
Yeah.
That's super sweet.
I honestly, in my opinion, I think we have the best merch division of any Magic channel. Maybe Command Zone, maybe not.
Yeah.
But again, when you compare with their work, I think
it's us.
Yeah, it's us.
Yeah, I mean, when you go to these events and you look around at Chicago and you can see like, there's a lot of people using
You can pick them out of a crowd. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I see our dice over there.
Yeah. Or like you watch webcam shows or you watch like Commander at Home. Yeah. And like that was a really surreal thing for me.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Was like we won't show the clip, but there was an episode of Commander at Home recently where it's Prof, Josh Lee Kwai, Brian Kibler, and Olivia sitting around a table talking about how great our dice are.
That was wild.
But that's like the Easter egg of random Spike merch, because if you look at their playmat wall, our breakfast cereal playmats there too, and it's really cool.
Yeah, that was like when I went down to go film with them last year, I brought 30 of them or something like that for them and just left them there. And they were like, these are really nice. They show up really well on camera. And that's what everybody loves about them is that they show up so well on camera.
I don't even think it's much of an accomplishment but I joined the most recent, the latest, if you will, and at the time I had no exposure to CDH, literally zero. And it was the first time I remember Jamothy lent me his Bears and Cars Esper deck that I'll never forget, that I had no idea what was happening, but I cast Sky Sovereign and I wanted to play that format from then on. So it was a bit of a learning curve, and I was definitely always very paranoid the first how many times I played. I always played monocolor decks that were fairly linear to try to kind of get my bearings, but I'm pretty happy with where I am now. Now I'm trying to get blown out by Bill and Jim frequently, try to have fun playing Narset. But,
Yeah, it's been a fun ride.
No fun in the basement.
Yeah, this might be a little selfish. This is not like, I'm not going to change the world here if I've got unlimited budget, but I would love to have a studio. I know that it's like maybe a little endearing that we film in my basement, but it's also a little awkward and it kind of disrupts my life a lot.
Yes.
You know, to think that we can't really, like, every time somebody wants to film or whatever, we have to think, well, what am I doing that day? Am I going to be home? Like, what's my partner doing? What's Shannon doing that day? Like, are we going to have to kick Shannon out of the house? And that's kind of awkward because then we're like, oh, I'll come back in 8 hours, you know?
Yeah, really.
Or if people are upstairs, like you can hear people walking around on the floor upstairs. So you kind of have to be perfectly silent. You can't turn on the TV and you can't walk around. Otherwise you can hear it on the mics. And so like, I would love to have a dedicated space with like maybe a couple editing computers, you know, a permanent filming setup where we've got like microphones and cameras with permanent mounts and stuff like that. Like kind of like the Moonbase. When I was visiting Loading Ready Run in Victoria, their office, the Moonbase, had a couple different, it was like office space.
Rooms, yeah.
And they had a couple different offices that were set up. Like one is their podcast station, one is their gameplay station. Then they've got a couple streaming offices and just stuff like that. It would just be really nice to have a professional space. Or like with Prof with Shuffle Up and Play, he's got his studio and there's like an apartment there where like somebody can stay if they're filming with them. Stuff like that. I would love to do that kind of stuff. Just to buy a dedicated space, be able to film there. Somebody can stay there if they're coming to visit. That's my dream for this at least.
I think that'd be great. Maybe
It's
we
not
can
way
do it
far
this year.
off. Yeah, it's not way far off, I don't think.
Answer. That's a down-to-earth answer.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not
It's
changing the
very
world,
realistic.
but it would be really nice to film Spike Feeders from like a real world headquarters and not just joking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my idea is like a clash between the channels. So you'd have all the major channels like Command Zone, you'd have Prof, we'd have like Commander at Home, Spike Feeders, just everybody versus each other. It would just be a big rowdy party.
Would we use like foam weapons or is this to the death?
Yes, well, Brian Kibler likes LARPing, so
does.
we can all
He would
LARP
murder
together.
He would.
I don't know if you've ever seen him. He is so fast.
It's,
Yes.
I've never seen
Yeah.
It
No,
is wild.
Yeah.
It's
Didn't he
wild.
break his finger or something? He's handicapped now.
Yeah,
we
he
got
was-
a chance.
He was working out.
We got a chance.
Yeah, and he's also like really good at magic too.
Yeah.
Like,
And reaching
murderous
a track.
Honestly, I'm not sure whether I'd rather get beaten by Brian Kibler or beaten by Brian Kibler, because I think it's going to happen either way.
I've had one, so I guess I got to try the other. Mine is a little more like way out there and less in the realm of possibilities, because I was trying to think of what's the biggest money sink I can think of. So I would like to open a magic themed restaurant. And I don't know, just have like all the serving staff cosplay as planeswalkers and everything like cheesy magic themed.
I feel like you could pitch that to a con.
I
Like, just do it as a
probably
pop-up
could. I
restaurant.
realized more that I
That'd
think
be
about
sweet.
it, like the less crazy this is. But like, I don't know, open it somewhere like Arizona, somewhere where it's not going to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was what I was thinking, because restaurants are money pits.
Honestly, just like more things with the channel. We've tried so many offshoots, you know, Spike on the mic. We did set reviews for a little bit, and there's just so much, you know, time constraint, I guess, more so than budget. But I just like talking with my buds about stuff, you know. So just more things with Spike Feeders.
Yeah, I think my answer is probably about the same. When I first read this question, I thought that it was like personal, and I was like, I would like a set of summer duels. And then we started talking about how it was maybe channel related, and I'm like, I'm not going to say that, but I said it anyway.
Oh, mine isn't channel related either.
Oh, go for it.
I really like the idea of having a paper version of Momir Basic.
Whoa.
I like I like a lot of the collector side of Magic, and having one of every creature ever printed, I think would be cool. Not practical, but cool.
I just like I love our Canlander content, and I would love to have time budget to do just more Canlander. I love Canlander, the format.
Lump that in with mine, yeah. More stuff.
Yeah,
Canlander big included.
Yeah, it's specific. Yeah,
If I had to pick a pod of 3 people to play Magic the Gathering with, it would be Iffy Wadiway,
Yeah.
Brian David Gilbert,
Yeah.
and Sam Reich.
Just be actually the gathering.
Yes, I would have so much fun with that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Anybody from Dropout, literally anybody from
Yeah,
Dropout. I
basically.
think they're all brilliant and hilarious.
Actually, I do not want to play with
Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Brendan Lee Mulligan.
I
Yeah.
would love to play.
Simply because I'm worried that if I beat him, he'll hate me. And I don't want him to hate me.
Oh my god, I love Brennan Lee Mulligan. Mulligan
He's
so
so
much.
good.
I love Brendan Lee Mulligan. If you're in the comments,
Yeah,
if
Brendan Lee Mulligan.
Brendan Lee Mulligan, get in the comments.
Please?
If you know Brendan Lee Mulligan,
Yeah, I'm super in for anybody from Dropout. I would also add to the group John and Hank Green.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to play Magic with John and Hank Green. I would love to play Magic with Jordan Peele.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and like Key and Peele really, but like actually just Jordan Peele because I'm a huge horror movie fan and Jordan Peele's awesome. I don't know. I have like a big list of people that I would love to play Magic with, and I think a lot of them might actually play Magic.
it's probably.
Yeah, like every once in a while we come across like these people where we're just like, did you know this person play Magic? No, that's cool. I wonder if I could play Magic with them at some point. You know,
Yeah.
like the 6 degrees of separation gets real small real quick in the Magic community, which
Yeah,
is
it
super
does.
cool. I was actually I played Magic with Princess Weeks.
I played with
Love
Princess.
Yeah, Princess Weeks is
She's
so
sweet.
cool, by the way. Awesome. But then also I was listening to a podcast that I listened to. It's all about like fad diets and stuff like that. And one of the podcast hosts, it's like a big podcast. They were number 1 on Apple Podcasts for a while. And one of the podcast hosts was like, yeah, this is about to be a Princess Weeks video essay. And Chad and I were driving to the lake and I'm just like, I know Princess Weeks. What's happening right now?
That's so random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, they're friends, turns out.
That's wild.
Honestly, I would love to collab with Ben Wheeler. We have. I don't think I got to play any of the games when he was here for the first collab, which is unfortunate, but you know, there's possibilities for the future. So I'd like to get in on those. I also have never gotten a chance to play any games with Brian Kibler. And he's been like my Magic idol since Honolulu, since Pro Tour Honolulu in 2012. The triple galvanic blast against John Finkel is like etched into my memory.
Mine is day 9.
That's a good
Mine
one.
is day 9.
So, you know, before, long ago, I'd watched the Day 9 dailies back when he was doing StarCraft. I frequently rewatched Day 9 Daily 100, which is him recapping his entire StarCraft career. And then I followed him as a variety streamer for a while, and then he started dipping his toes into Arena and other content, and has recently been showing up on other channels. Commander at Home. Brian Kibler is a close second. So the Sean, Brian, Olivia pod would be excellent.
I actually am very embarrassed that I didn't think of these two. These are the people that I'd actually love to collab with the most.
I know who it is.
David McDarby
Yep.
and Danny West.
I was about to
They
say.
are the originals. They're like the reason that I started playing Commander. It would be amazing. It would be like a dream come true, literally. So
I thought for sure you were going to say Jerry and Elliot. But
These two.
Yeah.
Jerry McDarby.
Mine would probably be Hunter Pence. I've been so even
Right,
before
right, yeah.
Jerry played Magic, before I played Magic, I loved Hunter Pence playing Major League Baseball growing up. And oh man, then I found out he played Magic, and I would just love to play a game of Magic with Hunter Pence.
I've
enjoy
got
it.
kind of a list like that for sure. Like people that I know do play Magic that I'd love to collab with. Day 9 is high on that list. Jerry and I are in a similar club of Jim got to meet the people that we wanted to play with and has given us videos of them flipping us off. So I have Travis Gafford.
Hey, Elliot?
from Hotline League and the League of Legends scene fame, and Jerry has Hunter Pence.
Flipping me off and saying, great.
Jerry, where you at, man? I'm hanging out here. We're playing Commander. We're playing deal. I heard you like baseball. You're not even here, man. I wish you all the best, but like...
But yeah, if I have to pick somebody to like collab with that is like totally unrealistic and like try to teach them Magic, it would be the boys from Stray Kids, which is my current obsession. They're a K-pop band. There's 8 of them, and they don't even speak 8. 2 pods.
Are they the Slipknot of K-pop?
There used to be 9. We don't talk about it.
Oh, they are the Slipknot.
But yeah, none of them even speak English too well. Like a couple of them are Australian, but there might be that barrier to entry as well. I don't know that there's any interest there, but that's my current bias.
They don't speak English. They're Australian.
2 of them are. 2 of them are, and the others are Korean, obviously.
Yeah.
If you're any of these people, hit us up.
Mostly Day 9. Or Travis Gafford. Pace your time.
My favorite commander is Aurelia the War Leader.
Called it.
Smart. Nin the Pain Artist.
Derevi Imperial Tactician.
Veyran, Voice of Duality.
I think I have to choose Dargo. I like the card a lot, but I don't play it as much as I wish I could.
Ragavan.
Heater. I gotta pick Zur. I named a cat after that guy. It's,
Nagila the Blade Blossom.
Ooh, tough one. I'm a big fan of artifacts. I really like original Mirrodin block. There's just some like busted stuff in original Mirrodin block. Really awesome. And then I would say runner-up Kaladesh. I'm a big fan of Kaladesh.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I really loved
You do like vehicles.
Yeah, I loved vehicles and I loved inventions too. Like the masterpiece inventions are gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That set was a home run for me.
Yeah, sweet. I was gonna say New Phyrexia. I don't know, but for me, it's just nostalgic because that's when I started playing. So.
Yeah, similar. Like the big set that I remember really playing, really getting into and enjoying was the like OG Ravnica. So Ravnica, and every time they go back to Ravnica, people are like, I'm so sick of Ravnica. And they're like, I like Ravnica. It's pretty sweet. There's 10 districts, but you don't talk about one of them.
There's 10 Ravnicas now.
There's 10 Ravnicas. And did you know Aurelia the War Leaders from Ravnica? So it's all coming together.
What?
Wow.
How dare you make me learn the lore? For me, it's actually not a block, it's a standard, and the standard was Theros Khan standard.
That was a good standard.
That was
just a
fun.
really good standard. I got to play my favorite mechanic, Heroic. That's my favorite constructed mechanic, not my favorite commander mechanic.
That was an Azorius.
My favorite commander mechanic is named Chris. Hey, but no, I just...
Azorius Heroic, right? Or Bant Heroic?
Yeah, it was first Azorius, and then it was Bant. And there was actually even a little period of time where it was like a Tarka Heroic, where it was like a Tarka Red with like the Krone Crusader. Anyway, there was some wacky stuff in that period, but it was a good time. If I had to pick just one set, though, it would probably be original Lorwyn.
Probably Amonkhet because it added the most cards to Farming Tribal.
Irrigated farmland.
Irrigated farmland, absolute heater of a card.
That's a nice one. Mine would be, I like Lorwyn a lot. I have a lot of foil Lorwyn basics, or Ixalan, because dinosaurs.
I think Innistrad block is probably my favorite one, like the original Innistrad block. It had so many powerful cards, and like Avacyn Restored was kind of a flop, but also Craterhoof Behemoth, so.
Yeah, mine's Mirrodin. Original Mirrodin block. Set was a mess, but it was the first set I started playing a lot of Magic in.
My favorite non-commander format is Cube.
Probably Modern. It's the one that I've sunk the most time into.
Gavin Verhey's Unknown.
Oh, you stole mine.
That's a good
It's so
answer.
good. It's so good.
But in seriousness, it's just sealed.
Yeah.
It's a tough one for me. I don't play a lot of non-commander formats. So I'm going to go with Canadian Highlander or Pauper. Two-way tie.
Those are good answers. Yeah.
Canadian Highlander.
Yeah.
Please watch our content so that we can make more of it. Thanks.
Yeah. I don't really play other non-commander formats, but if I did play another one, it would be Canadian Highlander.
I guess mine is Cube. It's what I did before Commander.
Canadian Highlander. Yeah, you know, we're just Canadian Highlander.
Mine, there's a long list. I think I narrowed it down to Storm. I just really like Storm. Cycling is like a close second.
Yeah, it's Exalted. I like when I only have to swing with one guy to murder my friends.
Nice. I like Double Strike. Big number, get real big.
Yeah.
I like Miracle.
Oh.
Ooh. I've never seen you cast a Miracle card.
No.
I've never seen you play a Miracle card.
One day. It will be a miracle.
Populate.
Mine's Affinity. If dies was a keyword, it would be that. But otherwise, it's Affinity.
Cascade.
Ooh, Cascade's a good one.
Cascade's a heater.
I love me some Cascade.
Mine is Trample, which is maybe pretty generic. I play a lot of little weenie decks in like casual Commander, go wide, but you can't kill people unless they have Trample.
True.
If I could make a secret lair, it'd be Stormlight Archives. What is that? By Brandon Sanderson. It's a fantasy series.
Oh, Brando Sando.
Brando Sando.
Like a sandwich one.
I'm gonna have to go with my hyperfixation is Legend of Zelda. Like
Yeah.
everybody saw this one coming from space, and Yeah, I don't know. I could info dump about Legend of Zelda lore. Legend of Zelda lore is like a hot mess, so that's where I'm going with it.
Sweet. My secret lair would be a Dragon Ball secret lair. I've thought about this extensively. I won't go into too much detail, but for sure we're going to have the Dragon Radar that can tutor all 7 Dragon Balls out of the deck, and then it flips into Shenron, and you win the game.
So hit up Maddie if you want to hear more about this.
So if the design team needs some ideas...
You've just about guaranteed that it'll never get printed now because WotC employees are not allowed to look at custom cards.
I didn't make the card.
And if they do see that, then they're not allowed to do it because of intellectual property issues.
Yeah, they have to pay you.
They got to hire you.
Yeah.
You can hire me for $1 a month on our Patreon.
I think since we already did the Kamigawa neon cyberpunk theme, I think we should do an actual cyberpunk, like 2077 secret lair.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I feel like that could have been alt art treatments for Neon Dynasty,
Could have
right?
been.
They could have just done that.
Yeah.
I'd probably make a Path of Exile set. I think that'd be really cool. It's already pretty like grimdark, which is very similar to like Warhammer 40k, but I would love to be able to have like enchantments and equipments that are kind of like the skill gem system, where you could like power up things, kind of like runes from Kaldheim. I think that would be like actually kind of a sweet thing for them to try.
I think for a secret lair, because I think it'd be hard to flesh out a full set, it'd be Hollow Knight.
That's a good one.
Otherwise, for a full set, I would be something like Dead Space or Resident Evil. It's like the kind of media that I enjoy otherwise.
I have 2. One that I think will never happen and is a nightmare to even think about is Major League Baseball. Just give me Major League Baseball cards.
I knew it.
The second one that I think is a little more realistic, even though I don't think Disney would allow it, would be Star Wars. I'd love a Star Wars one, and I think that could actually have some merits as a set.
Mine happened. I would have picked Jurassic Park. So, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, this one is actually one that not a lot of people know about, but right before we started the channel, in June of 2018, I had open heart surgery. And while I was recovering, Bill is my brother, and he came to the hospital to visit me, and he brought me one copy of every Magic card that has the word heart on it. In a card that was like well soon.
Nice, yeah.
And so I still have those all like in like a bag, team bag kind of thing. And those are probably, I would say, like the most sentimental cards in my collection. It's like Gonti's Aether Heart and like Heart Sliver and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's just really nice.
That's sweet. I don't know how anyone is supposed to follow that up, but...
Bill's going to. He's got a Japanese soul ring that my dad gave him.
Oh, that's sweet.
Spoilers.
I was gonna say, like, probably the most sentimental cards I have in my collection are something that somebody on Reddit gave to me because they knew that I am a big fan of Quentin Hoover, and they had a bunch of signed Quentin Hoover cards, and they just sent them to me in the mail. That was like pretty sweet. Yeah.
I have an Invention Soul Ring that I opened out of a box that I got for working at GP, and I opened it on my birthday. And then I have a Chinese Damnation that my girlfriend / my current wife got me for our second Christmas together.
Current wife.
She's my current wife. My ex-girlfriend who's my wife.
Yep.
Yeah, that's correct. She got me this Chinese
kill you saying it like that.
Chinese Damnation, and basically she just went to Fusion and asked for a really good Magic card, and they sold her this one, and she gave it to me as a Christmas gift. So I've played it in maybe 4 decks, and it's just sits. But it's going nowhere because.
Yeah, fair enough. I wouldn't really say that I value my cards all that highly. About the only card that I have any emotional attachment to whatsoever is an Eric Deschamps Assemble the Legion artist proof that he signed and did some art on Mana Curves and EK Plays Cards. Got that for me a couple of years back, and that was really nice.
Nice.
So I have this balance from when I used to play way before Cube, before Commander. I played a format called 250 or 5 color. That was a 250 card deck with 18 cards for each color. With a different bad restricted list, balance was obviously restricted and played in every deck. Back when we used to alter cards, we would sharpie them out except for a key piece of the artwork, which was cool at the time. And then, unfortunately, I damaged it, putting it into a fat pack box, which annihilated the corner. So I started playing it upside down in a sleeve so it wouldn't be marked. And then I worked at Sobeys at the time and used Label Maker to then replace balance, 1W, sorcery.
That's sick.
Yeah, I love it.
That's so cool.
I've had it for like 20 years.
I have nothing like that.
Mine would be my Angus Mackenzie because I forget what gift it was, but I know it was a gift from my then girlfriend, now wife, and I can never get rid of it. And it runs farming tribal, but that's probably the one that means the most in my collection.
It was a Christmas gift. She messaged me to ask what he wanted.
Thanks, Ellie.
Anytime. Mine would be, I have a set of dual lands altered by our very own Madison Gibbons with little Monet paintings. And they are, I believe, HP revised, but the border is inked or whatever. And yeah, they are the coolest thing I own by a long shot.
I have a lot, but I'm gonna narrow it down to 3 cards because all of them actually do mean something very important. I have an original commander set, Command Tower and Soul Ring that are in Japanese from the Zedru deck that my dad bought for me without knowing what like Magic really like meant or whatever. I was just like, can I have this for Christmas? And he's like, yes. And so he bought it for me. And so I use those. Those are my Command Tower, my Soul Ring. I have a Judge Sneak Attack that marks the sort of return of me into Magic again, because I played a bunch and then went into kind of like a slump. And then Jim gave me a Judge Sneak Attack, and then I made Najila. Or like I made Sliver Queen, which then became Najila. And that took me through all of the early Spike Feeders days. And then I have this foil Japanese Academy Rector that I am never getting rid of because it's the coolest card to me. It's really awesome.
My card's worth far less.
That's his oracle because people won't stop complaining about it on the internet. That's my answer. I don't care about that card at all, but it causes a lot of angry discourse.
Humility, because I've been asked so many questions about it for judging, and I feel like I will save so many judges future hassle by just getting rid of that card.
Sure.
Yeah.
For me, it'd be Arcane Bombardment. I think that it's more emblematic of what I dislike in the game, and that is decision paralysis. A lot of what I dislike about Magic is when I can see someone struggling to play it and just wasting people's time trying to play a game.
I feel like anything that I say here is going to get taken out of context and start a week of Twitter discourse.
That's a...
So I'm going to say
Soul Ring.
That's his oracle.
So I'm going to say Herloon Minotaur.
Hey!
I like that card.
Isn't it? Nope, gone. Out of here.
Oh wait,
That doesn't exist anymore.
How about Herloon Wrangler?
Nope. Herloon Minotaur. You're gone.
I'm gonna throw out a wild one here, and it's none of them. I don't think there's a single card I'd delete.
I'm on sort of the opposite end of that spectrum, I guess. I don't have a specific one either, but I think that there are too many wrath effects. Again, I play too many of these little weenie decks in Casual Commander, and it doesn't matter how many heroic interventions and Teferi's protections they print, I get blown up by Electrickery and damn all the same.
Yeah, farewell.
Electrickery? Is this a wrath?
All my elves are X1s, Aaron.
My answer is probably not like a super uncommon one, but Thassa's Oracle. To me, it marks the moment at which I started becoming disillusioned with CEDH. And also now there's so much discussion about it that I think if it didn't exist, there'd be like a different card that people would be complaining about, but at least it wouldn't be Thassa's Oracle. Like it's just a boring card to me. I don't necessarily think that it's too powerful. I just think that people need to shut up about it.
My card's in a similar vein. My card is Farewell. It isn't that I think that Farewell is like too good of a card, too powerful of a card, whatnot. It just in the wheelhouse of Casual Commander that I play the most, Farewell makes the most boring games.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is the card for me. Not for power level reasons, just for gameplay reasons.
They were bad. Straight up, that's what it came down to. Remember earlier we were talking a little bit about knowing when to move on from something that just isn't working out. And realistically, we said everything we wanted to say on Spike on the Mic. There was a period of time where Jim and I literally looked at each other and went, is there anything we can talk about that isn't just rehashing discourse that boils down to care about other people and communicate with them. Because frankly, I think we did 6 episodes that were basically that dressed up.
Yeah, Spike on the Mic kind of has a weird history. It started out as me being like me doing video essays.
Yeah.
And then I had a phone call with somebody that was giving me advice on content. And they said, well, you know, people watch your content for your personalities and video essays don't capture that.
Yeah.
So why don't you do a little bit of a back and forth and turn it into like from a video essay into a video podcast? And that was where we kind of took it. And that was where it started. And then it was kind of a way to talk about some hot button issues about the Commander format when I was just starting out on the Commander Advisory Group and the Rules Committee. And then, yeah, at some point we just looked at each other and we were like, it's all been said. I'm not sure I care to talk about hybrid mana again or like all of these hot button things. It's just like, they've already been argued to death, and I don't think we need to pile onto that.
And so like the last thing we tried to do with Spike on the Mic was to turn it into card review. And unfortunately, there just has to be a certain level of support for content in order for it to make it onto a main feed of a channel, and it didn't have it.
Yeah,
and
it took us 2 days to film and produce and another day to edit, and they would get like 3,000 views, and that's like, you know.
It is just, frankly, it's just not enough to put the time into doing it.
Yeah.
As for variety streams and things like that, a lot of that just boils down to most of us don't have the time. That was sort of a byproduct of the pandemic.
Yeah. How can we put content out there when we can't get together to do
Playing
stuff?
like Among Us.
Yeah, and it was mostly keeping us all
filming
sane.
video game streams and stuff. Yeah.
You know, we just wanted to play Pandemic, Jackbox, and Among Us like a lot of people did.
Like,
The long-term impact of those variety streams is now Madison plays Final Fantasy 13.
14.
14.
Yes.
Online.
14.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, it's not that we don't want to. Like especially the streaming would be nice to do. Just got other things to do.
Yeah. Pay attention on Christmas break. Maybe you'll see Alex and Elliot do a Nuzlocke run.
Yeah.
I guess my positive and my negative are the same. It is that there is so much product. Obviously, a positive, lots of cool stuff. You know, Universes Beyond, Fallout is for somebody very specific, not necessarily me, but somebody. Negative in that I have a lot of decks that I like to try to keep together, try to keep updated, and it is increasingly difficult to do that without losing some of my sanity, whatever remains.
Yeah, I think for me, if I can weigh in on your question as well, I do think I think a positive would be that there is like a ton of product and like they're hitting different notes for people, like you're saying, like Fallout is for specific people, even like The Walking Dead. I really don't like that one and I'm pretty vocal about it, but like other people like The Walking Dead and that's fine. Like you're allowed to like things. Elliot isn't, but most people are allowed to like things. I would say the negative is that there are too many treatments for cards now. That to me is like the biggest negative. There's too many things. There's like 6 different versions of every card.
As somebody that has to organize SKUs for an LGS, how do you feel about?
It's a lot of the same. The more specific issue I have is the inconsistency in which these things are released. I don't really care that there's so many. I think asking to tone it down is unrealistic at this point. They like money, you know.
Yeah.
It is so much that from set to set to set booster to play booster to you name it, everything's a little different and it's very, very confusing to the player. Which is the hardest thing I have to convey to those people is what exactly. It's not necessarily that Thunder Junction's coming out. It's that there's like play boosters which have 5 different set logos and how they're released and what they're legal in and whatnot. Every set is over 1,000 SKUs too, which is a nightmare. That's what makes it hard from the store perspective more than anything else.
I don't know. I gotta pick an angel token.
I'm gonna double down. It's one of those storm counter tokens.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay, sure.
There's not enough of those out there.
Yeah. I'd really like to
1/1 white red soldier.
Not quite. It's very specifically classical Gothic full plate knight armor.
Ooh.
Okay.
Like I don't want any distractions. I just want me with a big sword and lots of metal.
I like
Sick.
that. Yeah.
I feel like mine's got to be a weird little guy.
Yeah.
Like
We got varmints in this new set, right? I'd be a varmint.
You want to be a
Oh, there you go.
varmint?
I want to be a varmint.
Gremlin from Kaladesh.
Yeah,
You like
the
Kaladesh?
gremlins are
Yeah.
good. I really like gremlins. Yeah. It's got to be a weird little guy.
Yeah.
I think it has to be the Najila Warrior token. As I mentioned, that's my favorite commander of all time. That was when we got stuff from a friend of the channel, Anthony, also known as Listener Alters. Everybody else got a commander, and I got everybody else got a commander proxy that was like of an IP that they like, and mine was the Warrior token for Najila specifically. So yeah, I think it has to be that.
Mine's really boring, but it's Treasure. It's the one I make the most, but I think it's also the most open-ended design because Treasure can be something, anything to anybody. You know, what is a value to me or means something to me, and it can be represented in a lot of different ways.
I would want to be on a 1/1 farmer token. It has probably not been invented yet, so we'll say 1/1 citizen because I'm pretty positive human citizens are tokens. But if Wizards ever makes a farmer token, hit me up and use my likeness on it.
I kind of have two. If we're going with a token that exists, I'd like to be the Fable of the Mirrorbreaker Goblin Shaman, because I think I'm kind of just a funny little goblin-y guy. I exude that kind of energy, and every time I'm in the place, it's a treasure to everybody else. Or if I could invent one, it would be, I guess, again, a likeness of me as a copy of Spellseeker for Inala's Eminence ability.
That's very, very specific.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess out of my decks, I think my favorite wacky deck right now is this Gnawbone ramp deck because it's actually way better than I thought it was going to be. And it's just getting tons of support. Mono Green gets ridiculous support in Commander all the time, and you just jam all those cards in there. In terms of decks that I've seen that I think were really funny or clever, I once saw, Guillaume, the chef. The Golgari chef.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a Guillaume deck that was full of rats, and the guy called it Ratatouille.
That's sweet.
That's a good one.
So instead of doing like Marrow-Gnar or whatever, he made it a Ratatouille deck.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is
I like that.
very funny.
That's fun.
Yeah, so shout out to that guy. I don't know if you're watching.
If you're watching that guy.
So we kind of have a hybrid system here where a lot of us have our own collections and our own decks that we use, but there is a communal collection. It's not really a collection, a communal amount of decks. A collection of decks is the best way to put it. So say you're not feeling any of the decks you brought that day, you can just pull out another random deck from the old HQ collection of decks from, most of them are from videos past that we've done. So that's kind of how we've done it here in the past.
Yeah, not individual cards.
We don't have an individual cards. It's a collection of decks is the best way to put it.
So I put a lot of thought into this. I have a list. So to be fair, when you analyze the Spice Girls names, it is a lot of superficial stuff, and trying not to be superficial, stereotypical, and be not mean is very difficult in this day and age.
Very difficult to not be mean.
Especially
So
for
with
me.
that in mind, let's roast Alex.
And that in mind, let's go over this list. I do have everybody, including Phil.
Okay.
And I tried to get two for each. So for Aaron, I have Jolly Spike or Value Spike. These are in alphabetical order. Alex, I have Bold Spike or Velvet Spike.
I am like Ranch.
Spike is nice.
Bill, I have Swag Spike or Elliot Spike.
Elliot Spike is really funny. Okay. Unfortunately, very funny.
Elliot, I have Ooh Woo Spike or Lil Spike.
Ooh, Woo Spike is so funny.
Yeah.
He's totally an
I put a lot of this one. Mine is I put Bald Spike or, because I know how much it bothers Alex, Daddy Spike.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't like that.
At least Jerry's going to catch up to you soon.
Jerry is Agra Spike or Yeehaw Spike.
You know what's really funny is that if you search Spike Feeder, if you like Google Spike Feeders, it's like an even split of Magic stuff. You get like the actual Spike Feeder card and like us, and then also a bunch of agricultural content because there's like feeders that you can hit, I don't know, jam into the ground on a spike.
Oh.
They're called Spike Feeders. And that's like a thing.
That's the name of our YouTube.
That's the name of our YouTube thing.
Yeah.
That's SEO, baby.
Yeah.
That and shatter resistant canola, and we're ready to go.
ConAgra, hit us up.
We'll put you in a game. And then for Jim, I have Tall Spike and Omni Spike because he's everywhere. And then Madison, I have Artie Spike. And then I didn't want to write Girl Spike.
Girl Spike was the idea that I had
That was
too. I'm like, we are
Madison's,
feeding the tropes.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, if you guys can come up with a nicer one from
Yeah.
Madison, do that. But that's my
Tell
list.
us in the comments.
Okay, next, if we were doing a heist, what would everybody be? Or no, K-pop group.
Yeah.
K-pop group.
Who of us and how many of us are Jimin and why?
Can I be the SNSD?
Yes.
Yes.
You
I don't
can
know
be
what
the
any of this means.
SNSD.
Me neither.
That's a tough question. So there's two facets of it for me. I do enjoy games, just games in general. Like when I'm at home, I play a lot of video games. I just enjoy games. I enjoy sports. Anything that has a competition, maybe competition is the wrong way to put it, but anything that you can kind of game a system or there's a system in place for enjoyment, I enjoy. But for Magic specifically, what keeps me playing Magic would probably be just the social aspect and the fact that I get to play with friends. I can have a beer, blah, 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 play with friends, joke around, hang out with buddies.
Same. Yeah. Like it's mostly just that the people that I like to hang out with play Magic. I've dabbled back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And like Flesh and Blood and whatever. It's just something about specifically Magic's system, I guess, that keeps me coming back to this specific card game. That and I don't know, sunk cost fallacy. It's like, well, I gotta get good eventually, right? I've been playing for so long.
Yeah, keep us posted. Yeah, I think mine is about the same. Is that I like playing games with friends and people who maybe used to be my friend. I love you.
I was gonna tell the Tyler Cook story and everything, and then I didn't, and now I wish that I did.
It's too late now. But no, my favorite thing is just being able to get together with people and sort of like, it sounds dumb, but like to make memories. And it's like there was one specific thing. It was a tweet that I think Alex put out a little while ago that was like, what's your favorite Spike Feeders bit? And there were all these people, like all these fans that were responding with like things from our videos that they picked up on. They're like, oh, I use this with my playgroup all the time. It's like, oh, I'm going to cast Ponder. Oh, what you thinking about? Like, oh, Inventors Fair, more like Inventors Unfair. And I was looking through and I saw ones that like I had made. And it's like, I like making those jokes with people and seeing that they've interacted with other people's lives just makes me feel really good. I like making people laugh, and I think that Magic the Gathering is a decent place for that. So yeah.
I actually ask myself this question, what feels like every now and then. I've played Magic for almost 25 years. It's been my job career for the last 15. It's everything. It's everything that I think Magic offers as a package, from like collectability to artwork to the game system. It's all of it that I think has to work, and it's every part of it that I enjoy. It isn't one specific thing, but yeah, throughout the years, it's who I am as a person for however long. Whether it is sunk cost fallacy at this point, like Elliot said, but it's like it's been the vessel of like how I socialize and meet people. And do everything that as I am, who I am as an adult. It's like been the defined thing that's kind of encompassed everything I've ever done. Travel, friends, it maybe sounds cheesy to say, but it's who I am as a person to such an extent that it's been so much of what I've done. Like I now hire people who are younger than the amount of time that I've played Magic, which is concerning because I'm old.
Yeah, we got the 3 youngest people and Aaron today. So
yeah, where's Jim? I need to get him on camera. But yeah, it's just everything. Like, and I've like never burned out. You kind of ebb and flow with like how much you consume and don't. But like it's always been a constant. I can't imagine it not being.
Mm-hmm. The thing that keeps me coming back from Magic is getting to spend time with my friends. Honestly, in terms of a wider game or a larger thing, Magic has always just sort of been a hobby that I do to spend time with people I like. I used to be a judge before I started doing this, and when that started wrapping up back in like 2019, I actually sold my entire collection aside from my Aurelia the War Leader deck before I got invited to Spike Feeders. And now obviously I've built up since then, but realistically, me and Magic were about to be just something I do on occasion before I did this. And I don't think that that's really changed. A lot of what I like about Magic is the people I get to do it with, and doing content just gave me way more people to play Magic with. So I'm really grateful for that. And I think that more than anything else is what brings me back to Magic is the folks I get to spend time doing it with.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of sappy, but like at the end of the day, this is not any of our jobs. And so it has gone from like screwing around in my basement with my friends to like we're still screwing around in my basement with my friends, but then also we just get to do some really cool stuff sometimes. Like we get to travel to events and we get to like our experience at a MagicCon is way different than everybody else's experience at a MagicCon. Just because we've been screwing around in my basement for 5 years, you know?
Yeah. Put it on video.
Yeah, and so it's not like it's not my job. It is obviously like a big part of my life. But yeah, I think it's probably just like if it wasn't this, I'd be looking for people to play board games with, or get a D&D group together or something else to get people into my basement to hang out and play games.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
I like the way you ended that. Get people into my basement.
To get people into my basement so that they can't leave.
Yeah.
And then you got to make that crazy, crazy face. And cut.
Started messing around in my basement, and now we're Canada's largest dice distributor.
And then it comes back, you just have a knife in your hand. Like, ugh.
It's wild how it happens, right? We like duct tape, we like masking taped a camcorder to a light fixture in my dining room, and then 5 years later, we're
wild.
the biggest dice
With a
manufacturer.
ladder. Yeah, I just don't understand the trajectory.
It's like that. That's like that one meme with the progressively larger dominoes.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's the step 1, tape camera to light fixture. Step 2, play Magic, question mark, question mark. Step 4, become Canada's largest dice distribution.
Ban Dermo Taxi, then retire from the Commander Rules Committee.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know, that's where I'm at. It's all about the people and having fun with people here. That's it.
I think so, right? And I think that is probably going to be everybody's answer, is that the reason we come back to Magic is because we enjoy playing Magic with our friends. I don't know. Like, I have such a different relationship with Magic. I feel like sometimes because it's also my job, right? Being an artist and a card alterer, and like that's what I do all the time. But I can still come back to Magic and enjoy it as a game because I can do it with my friends.
I think I have one other thing that is like
just throw it in there.
so cool. I totally forgot what the question was. I just want to say this.
Yeah.
But in the past like 6 months or like 8 months, being able to open a pack of Magic cards and not know what's inside it is it's an experience that you cannot replicate. You can get it from Gavin Verhey's Unknown event.
Yeah.
There's like a little taste of that.
Yeah.
But like when Wizard sends us product like a month ahead of release, nothing has been previewed.
Yeah.
We don't have the card images. We don't know what's in the set. And so when we open the Commander decks to play them, it's the first time we've ever seen these cards.
Yeah.
And like this for Thunder Junction, the most recent one that we just did, we drafted it before we played the Commander decks too. Yeah. And so again, everybody opens their first pack and then there's just like 2 solid minutes of just people reading.
Yeah.
And getting excited about cards, right? And I haven't seen that in so long.
Yep. Yeah, it's like it's an experience that you cannot replicate, and I've never really had it anywhere else, and it's just a wild experience to me.
It reminds me of when I was opening packs as a kid.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Before the internet.
before spoilers were a thing.
Right?
Like before the internet, before card spoilers.
Well, honestly, it was just because I was a dumb kid and didn't think to go look anything up. But
Yeah, and
That's
like you
also-
haven't watched people on the internet play these decks before. You don't know what these cards do. You
You're
don't
not
know
looking
what's
up lists. Yeah, like, oh, what cards am I trying to open? You're like, I'm
and
just
you're
going with
just
this pack and like,
This is just cool.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
for me, it's always like similar thing, playing with friends and everything, but it's also felt a little bit like comforting. Like it's like comfort zone where you just feel like with your friends, you're relaxed, even though what we do tends to be stressful and we're worried about the 50,000 people scrutinizing everything we do. Love you. Yeah, I've been doing it for so long that it's part of my life now. And also like I've put these on my body, so I kind of can't leave now.
you maybe want to show those off to the camera.
Oh yeah. I can't get to my other one because it's all the way
Take
up.
your shirt
It's
off.
demure. You can never leave.
It's all like right up here, but
Poor
like
thing.
I put these on before Vegas a couple of years ago and plan to get more, but it's permanent.
Yeah.
It doesn't come off.
Yeah.
In any case, folks, thank you so much for watching this Ask Us Anything. We really appreciate all the support. We just want to say thank you to you. If you haven't, for some reason, subscribed, if you're watching this, you're not a subscriber, thank you.
Yeah.
Please stick around. We usually do gameplay. Like it, comment on it, share it with your friends. And honestly, folks, I don't want to belabor this one too long, so just have a great day. And thank you again for making us so successful.
Yeah, I pinch.
Oh, it's hearts. Heart explosions.